Dinesh Arora. I'm from Poultry Technology, Dairy Technology, and Pet and Vet. We are publishing 3 magazines since last 20 years. We started this 2005, and we have just completed 20 years last month.
Congratulations. So I think that, when you think of the global aspect, what we really see is that poultry is going to be the dominant, especially the dominant land-based protein. Obviously, in certain sectors, we're going to have aquaculture playing a big role on the protein side. And I think for India, it's as traditional. I think the way has always been, okay, what's happening in the US? There's a lot of other places where poultry is growing and lots of different things are being tried. Maybe we should also be looking at those. So I think that's part of what we see as our mission, I suppose, part of our responsibility, and helping the industry to think about those things a little bit more. But you just look at some of the numbers you were presenting. Gosh, the marginal increase, and a lot of it almost coming down, less of production, but more of gaining the confidence of the consumer. This is really the mission that we should be sharing. That benefits everybody. So I think this has been something that has changed quite a bit. I think one of the things my father said in many interviews was he wanted Alltech to publish as many papers and have as many patents as a university, and I think that was important at that time. I think our sector wasn't well understood. People knew what to do. A vet knew what to do with an antibiotic or a vaccine. Nutrition was kind of an idea that I will think about the different nutrients that are available to me, but maybe feed additives or feed ingredients, people weren't really sure how this would work. So it was really important to gain the trust, not just of Alltech products, but of our types of products. So the university work and the research initiatives and the thought leadership was crucial. We're kind of in a different moment now. So over the last few years, we've really changed the way we approach research. So we created basically an innovation group. It wasn't very big, it was 2 people. And I basically said, okay, think about this problem. How do we develop products more quickly? How do we do them in partnership with our customers? What is success? And don't think about our industry. What are the leading innovation companies in the world? And so Dr. Khan Kinney took on that task, and now our entire research function, everything in development, everything in applications reports into that same innovation group. They're working very closely with our technology group, they're working very closely with our commercial facing companies, and we don't do any real level of research if we can't see that this has some outcome. Somewhere this will be relevant. That doesn't mean dollars and cents, it doesn't mean it has to be that we have a fully understood value proposition, but if this is not solving an industry problem, why are we doing it? You can have some things that are passion projects, or I'm a scientist, this is a topic I'm interested in, but if that's more than 5% of your innovation budget, then what are you doing? Isn't that something maybe I should just take my own personal money and do? So I think that was a big shift for the company, and I would say we're seeing the benefits now. I mentioned upstairs, our new products, what we call new products, roughly these are products that have been with us 2-3 years. Those are growing 3 times faster than our traditional products. So you can see, that's gaining the attention of the market, but most of those are being built because we have an end user, we have a customer who is challenged. They brought to us, and our innovation team is working on that. I think you are doing that here.
Yeah, we already have the team member base here within the same application person who works with our colleagues in Europe and in the US. And a lot of things which we see in the market, the opportunities, those are the projects we take, we work through, and it's not just short-term ones, but long-term projects are taken, and we make sure that those get into the marketplace. Those are really helping the producers, the farmers. Right? As Dr. Mohan said, we just don't take projects that for the sake of research. It's something that really helps the farmers and producers. That's what we really aim for, not just in this particular lab, but also the IFM lab that we have in Pune. this is associated an alliance that we have with Karnataka Veterinary University, usually Bangalore Veterinary College, and our scientists are based there in that lab. And we work very closely for the last 12, 13 years now. And this is something we extend support to the dairy industry today. And we have reformed a lot of things, providing a lot of reformulation help with the people that we have on the ground. The technical capabilities that we have is immense, the nutritionists within the team. So all of that mixed together, we are coming up with better offering for the customers.
My question to the point, sir. You have campaigned the working together for a planet of plenty. I'm more curious to know about this slogan. What is this and how it will applicable in Alltech India?
So I think India is probably one of the places where it's most relevant. The idea came out of something that I was asked, maybe I guess it was a week after my father passed away. There was a obituary they were writing for the Wall Street Journal, and they asked, what did I want to do with the business? And I wasn't expecting actually that type of question, and I just thought, I had a great opportunity growing up. I traveled with him. I got to really see the world. And you see so many different situations where our industry can have a huge impact on people's livelihoods, on people's nutritional levels. And so I was thinking about it today with some of the presentations we saw. Small things we can do can really have a massive outcome. Nutrition is the best way to improve human health. So we can do a lot to reduce overall healthcare costs, improve health outcomes simply with better nutrition. So that was kind of part of the idea. We already had used the slogan, so we had in a slide kind of at the end of the presentation, maybe we should all be working together, and then we decided, okay, we'll define this better. Rural communities, how do you make sure you have good, dignified, and economically viable farming sector? How do you make sure you can produce enough nutrition, not calories, not enough food, but the right type of nutrition? And then how do you do this with lower environmental impact? So those are kind of the three concepts. So the logo has 3 leaves. So sometimes we say those stand for those. Sometimes it's the science that develops the sustainability, and this broad idea of sustainability, not simply environmental sustainability, but economic as well. And then also, storytelling. So we created this documentary, World Without Cows. That's an example of the types of things we want to do, because we have to communicate to the consumer, we have to communicate to the government, the policymakers, what is our sector doing? So those are kind of the essence. So we launched that in May 2019, and that was where we kind of kicked off the mission and vision.
So, my question to you is, where does India feature, or what is your vision for India in the overall global Alltech roadmap?
Yeah, so, maybe to kind of even build a little bit, I think we obviously have a very significant population of India, but I think today we have a very different scenario. We have business leaders across so many different sectors, but particularly in the tech sector. Here we are in a hub of automotive. We've got so much happening in manufacturing. So India is actually a leading country. We have also, maybe some of this geopolitical tension. India has put itself in a quite interesting position, not really aligned with anyone, but kind of working with everyone. So, and I think it's a really smart move. So I think India is going to be absolutely a very dynamic place. Plus these guys. The most sort of market attractiveness, the sector, profitability, all those things are important. But if you don't have the people, none of it matters. We have a tremendous team here, and a lot of longevity. This guy knows if he calls me, I pick up the phone. I think that's really important. And that was really what was said by my father. He saw India years ago as a crucial market. So I think in that regard, our global leadership team knows this is a place that needs resource, that needs support. I would say we've probably put more into India over and above what we normally do. I started to realize that, we sell products in 144 countries, we have a presence in over 90, but they're not all created equal, and we kind of have that saying, if everyone is special, nobody is special. So this part has to stay in India. So but we definitely want to see, there's some places that need more support. And before we had, Asia was managed together. I lived in China. What I saw within China was what the guy in Vietnam was going to help me with, or Thailand, or whatever. Some of it might be relevant, but some may not. And that's exactly the same, here. So we've really kind of split the market. So that means that, Dr. Aman doesn't have to go through any layers. If he needs to talk to my, CFO, COO, he can. If he wants to talk to me, he can. And I think that's the speed you have to be able to. This is such a dynamic market, and we have to have the local empowerment. And I think we're now going to see the next phase, 5-10 years of Alltech India is going to be really exciting. Every time I come here, I say, why is there still no acquisition, or what else should we be doing? So. Yeah, those things, everybody can do improvements and should be doing improvements in their facilities. But I always say, the real impact for us is when our technologies, when our products can reach the animal. That's the real magic. How we help, how many customers we have around the globe. Those are really the partners that make the magic happen. We have one customer, they might have themselves tens of thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of customers, or contract growers, or whatever the case may be. So I think Alltech has about 45,000 customers, but those customers have millions of customers. So that's really the impact. So I think the applications team here, the work they're doing, having the technical side, the commercial side, a very technical commercial team, allows us in India to really develop new products. It doesn't have to be something that, when I say I want the team to focus on new innovation, new products, it doesn't mean that it's a global brand that I'm pushing out to everybody. It's hopefully something they're creating themselves. So maybe you could explain a little bit some of the local innovations, because you guys have done a lot of good things that really are around this idea of sustainability, but maybe more around efficiency first. Because if we don't make money for the producer, the rest of it is wishes, hopes, and dreams. It's not really.
From the technical perspective and the feed formulation perspective, we are educating some of the industry nutritionists on how to kind of formulate on the basis of GWP, global warming potential, for example. So that's one of the technical front. We have kind of, in case of milk industry, done some baseline working in past. So Alltech ECO2 is a company that we acquired, I think,
now 12 years.
12 years ago. There are professional expertise who would do the farm assessments and tell you for every liter of milk, this is what the carbon you would put into the atmosphere. So in India, we have done this work, the baseline, we know where we stand. But that was a project that we tried to do with one of the large cooperatives. They gave us 20 farms and we could draw the baseline. Currently, we are doing a project because of the NDA we have signed. I'm not able to reveal you the name, but again, a milk processor where we are improving the efficiency of feed, which means again less carbon put into the atmosphere because of the increased milk production. So those things, we, as you know, we may not necessarily be the best efficient milk producer, but in volumes we are number one. But that is an area how we could be more efficient so that less of carbon gets into the atmosphere. Some projects are ongoing, and I think this is an area besides those initiatives internally that we try to do. We continuously work upon. Dr. Lokesh, I don't know if you have anything else to add upon.
Yeah, apart from that, whatever Mark and Dr. Amal said, we are working on the new solutions, which basically can work in our local conditions. So there are certain solutions which can improve efficiency. We are already getting the improved feed efficiency, but how we can make our products more exposed to the global market. So how we can improve the meat quality, how we can improve the overall feed conversions. Those are the areas basically we are working into poultry, dairy, as well as aquaculture.
Yeah, I guess if we kind of break this into, when you talk about poultry, the broiler industry, the breeder industry, and the layer industry still remains kind of fragmented, and we do need a lot of people on ground to service that particular segment. While in case of broiler, there's a lot of consolidation that will happen. And one, you say, okay, here are those top producers, and then you have the tier 2 ones. We continuously try to work with them, and when you talk about technologies, there are some essential technologies like the bioindexes that we offer to the market, and I believe we are the leaders in India today in terms of those essential trace elements, which you cannot make a feed without the trace minerals, and we acquired a large space into that segment, educating, creating awareness, and to make sure that we provide quality offerings through the positive Q Plus program that we have in place. And you just heard that we are coming up with another line now in the production. So I think it's time and again demonstrating them the results of our offering, the ROI, what we offer. And that's what I think the industry has embraced our technologies in a way. So I believe this is not the end of it, but this will continue for long. And I was trying to ask, well, will we be getting into 100% kind of integration of contract growing? And some of the much more experienced than me, including someone like Dr. Sanit Narkar, said, probably not. We might get up to 80%, which is probably now between 70 and 75, the contract growing thing. But whatever it is, but then we continuously work with even those large players within the market.
Alltech has been in India over, I think, more than 2 decades. Why you have selected Chakan as your place for this high technology customer laboratories? Why not Bangalore?
Well, that's a good question, actually. Because of the people around here, that's one of the reasons, I would say, and already we have the facility built up. That's another reason. And I wouldn't say Karnataka is not a very big state for us, Bangalore is not a great city. But then I think rather than going down south, we do have IFM already in terms of dairy services where we do in Bangalore. So given the space availability, given the technical capabilities around, we thought that this might be a better place for us in terms of servicing the customers.
I mean, I would say that I think for us, the partnership aspect and the customer is probably going to lead a lot of that. Some of these bigger groups that are really involved, really connected, I think that's going to be a big thing. But I don't know how you would see you could build upon.
Yeah, so look, the partnership, as I said, with Karnataka Veterinary College, which is an ongoing thing, our commitment there for us, almost getting close to 2 decades. And then partnerships with the industry, like we have this MSD today. They are the ones whom we collaborate now almost 5 years, and they have been a great partner for us in terms of distribution of some of our technologies where we are unable to reach. And we take projects, short-term projects, long-term projects to kind of work and support the producers in the marketplace. And I think one of the challenges that we have within the industry is when there are challenges, where to go to. Well, there are many labs available within India, and then we ask, where do you put your hand on your heart and trust the ABC lab? some may have good facilities, no doubt about that, but then we thought that providing this facility and maybe in times of troubleshooting where we could say, okay, let us test your sample and here are those 70 elements that we are able to check in your field, and we say if it is negative, fantastic, you're doing very good, but if there is a positive, then something we can take a deeper dive into it and do more analytical studies. So I think one of the major objectives is to really look into that and help on those aspects. We have seen, for example, heavy metal contamination sometimes bothers us. We do survey a lot around the heavy metal thing. Around 16 to 20% contamination we see for the batches that we test, for the survey that we try to do. And particularly cadmium is something that bothers us, particularly in India, quite a lot in terms of heavy metals. So I think this kind of awareness and giving the quality technologies out into the marketplace, that's where, sorry, I'm kind of off the track for your question. So it's a continuous process, and I think we would love to take more projects and partnerships in countries. And it was told to me that this particular cadmium one, it comes in combination with zinc sulfate as a mother nature thing. All right. So that's something for us to really analyze the source of zinc sulfates, what we have encountered, and to make sure those levels are within the permissible limits, not just in our raw material, but in our finished product. I guess, as Dr. Lyons earlier said, you know, the bringing everything into an innovation department, all those clubbed together and taking those projects that really has a value in a way, and having a local person based here. This happened just 1.5 years ago with the plans that we have for India. A lot of even localized solutions that are coming up. For example, we have come up with feed recap, the moisture optimization or migration program, you may call it. And it's taken off like anything. We have done 17 trials in the last 6-7 months. And every trial tells us that there is significant savings for the feed producer. So we have those capabilities now with the summer coming in place, and I believe that is where we can support the feed producers more and more with these kind of technologies, new things that are coming up through the application team, through the innovation team.
Well, would you also say maybe we never really looked for outside funding of our R&D? You know, we have to come up with that our own way. But I do think there's been a shift, and I speak maybe from a European or US perspective. You know, we've kind of seen that universities have been less relevant. They've been more costly. So we're doing less research in European and US universities. Where we have done research, we've created longer term partnerships and agreements and alliances. I think that's been a good successful strategy, particularly in Asia, where you have an overall outcome you're looking for, and it's maybe a bigger picture. You don't want, it's not, let me, you know, make this product for me, and
sure.
like it's kind of here the bigger picture things that we need to do. And then I think that when people understand that context, even, you know, financial people, then they're more willing to. You know, I would say this though, the last, so we just obviously wrapped up our budget. This will be 3 budgets in a row where our R&D increase, our funding went up over 10%. So that's important, and I think part of what I needed to see was a change in the way we looked at innovation, and then move towards, you know, increasing funding. So, you know, it's not, we don't have kind of we have to spend X number of, you know, dollars per, it's not really that type of approach. And it also tends to be case by case. Like we've just done a pretty major investment in partnership with a dairy in the western part of the US, which we'll be announcing, I guess, probably second quarter. and that is going to be, it's a robotic dairy, very high tech, and we're going to be able to do 4 trials there on a this is 5,000 dairy cow type of thing per year. That's pretty unprecedented, and it's purely through stepping into an opportunity with an existing customer. And I think those are the ways that we have to think about things, because then whatever comes out of there, people will say this is commercially relevant. Somebody big, and there's somebody with a good reputation behind it that is using whatever outcome we've come up with. So those are things I'm finding. I think maybe some smaller scale lab, university scale stuff you can do. It can be beneficial for certain questions, but not for all questions.
Thank you.